The Democrats have a little bit of a problem. They have one of the most exciting presidential campaigns going in a generation, but it doesn't look like anybody's going to get enough delegates to win the actual nomination. This is a job for Super Delegate. So here's the problem. The Democrats have the most exciting presidential campaign going in a generation. They're inspiring all kinds of new voters and new activists, young people, the working class, older women, all coming out to vote for the first time, getting involved in campaigns for the first time. But the problem is this: when the two candidates get to the convention, neither of them are going to have enough delegates to be nominated. How did the Democrats get to this point? Well, it's because they have a democratic system called proportional representation. That means as each state votes, each candidate gets delegates in proportion to the percentage of the vote that they get. They used to do it like the Republicans still do it, winner take all. Whoever wins the state gets all that state's delegates. That makes it pretty easy to nominate somebody, but it's not very democratic. Proportional representation is much more democratic. Back in 1988, Jesse Jackson was upset that he had won about 20% of the vote, but he only had about 10% of the delegates. It's important to get the right percentages because the delegates do more than just nominate the eventual candidate. They have a say in what the party's platform is, and the more delegates you have, the more your political viewpoint gets represented. So Jackson's people sat down with Michael Dukakis's people. For 5 days they negotiated new rules and came up with this proportional representation so that minority candidates could have a voice at the convention. But they also ended up with another rule, this one forced on them by the party elders who wanted to protect the conventional wisdom, the mainstream candidate. They came up with an idea of super delegates. These are people who are often elected representatives, like Congress people and governors, but they're also party activists who have never been elected by anybody. Altogether, there's almost 800 super delegates, and they represent 40% of the votes needed to nominate a candidate. So right now, the two candidates, Obama and Clinton, are hurriedly calling all these super delegates, trying to get them to commit to one or the other candidate before the convention. This would be a disaster for the Democratic Party, to have all this exciting voting going on, all these new people participating, and then to have the party elders select the candidate. That would be undemocratic. That's why activist groups are circulating petitions, trying to collect hundreds of thousands of signatures to send to the superdelegates, trying to convince them not to take a stand, not to commit to any candidate before the convention. They want the people to have a say. They want the people's voice to be heard. They want the superdelegates to wait until all the voting is over and then go with the candidate who won the most votes from the people. Seeing all this happening, though, certain Washington insiders are starting to spin the whole superdelegate issue. Howard Fineman, for example, the senior Washington correspondent for Newsweek magazine, recently said that if Hillary Clinton came within, a couple dozen delegates, lost but came close, it would be okay for the superdelegates to go ahead and vote for Hillary. Howard, losing is losing. Close is not close enough. And just recently, Howard Wolfson, communications director for the Clinton campaign, said that if Hillary's behind by about 50 delegates, that's pretty much a tie. Howard, that's not a tie. That's losing. So it's going to be a real struggle over these superdelegates. If the Democratic Party ends up nominating the person who lost the popular vote, who lost the vote of the people, they're going to shoot themselves and democracy in their foot. They're going to turn off all these excited new voters, all the young people, all the working class people who are coming out for the first time. They may even end up losing the White House as a result of this undemocratic maneuver. So let me say to you, superdelegates, stand aside, stand up for truth, justice, and the American way, and let the people have their voice. It's about time we did. This is an exciting democratic election year, and we want to see democracy work. I'm Paul George, here to tell you Orwell was an optimist. Shazam! Oh wait, wrong superhero.